The war inside you. How masculine and feminine energy shape your brain, love, and destiny. There is a war happening inside you, not a metaphorical one, a biological one. A war between two ancient forces that shaped every civilization, every relationship, every moment you've ever felt driven, yet strangely empty. And the most dangerous part? You were never taught they existed. The symptom. Look at the modern man. He's productive, disciplined, focused, and quietly disconnected. Now look at the modern woman, capable, independent, powerful, and secretly exhausted. They don't know why. They blame relationships, work, trauma, each other. But the truth lives deeper, in the nervous system. Inside your brain are two competing systems, one designed to push forward, one designed to open and receive. Neuroscientists call them the sympathetic nervous system, drive, action, survival. The parasympathetic nervous system, safety, connection, restoration. Ancient cultures called them something else, masculine and feminine energy. Not gender, not roles, but neural strategies. Every human has both. Men, women, non-negotiable. When one dominates, the brain adapts. When one is suppressed, the body rebels. Anxiety is not weakness. Depression is not laziness. Burnout is not failure. They are signals of imbalance. Think about the last time you felt truly alive. Not productive, not admired, just alive. Chances are you weren't forcing, you weren't collapsing, you were in polarity. You were in balance between direction and flow, between structure and surrender. Your nervous system was coherent. Modern culture worships one energy at a time. Hustle, grind, achieve, or feel, express, release. But nature never chooses one. A heart that only contracts dies. A heart that only opens also dies. In the next chapters, you'll discover why attraction dies when polarity disappears, why discipline without softness becomes cruelty, why emotions without structure become chaos, and how to rewire your brain to integrate both. This is neuroscience. This is psychology. This is ancient wisdom finally catching up to biology. The most powerful human is not the strongest masculine or the deepest feminine. It is the one who can move between them at will. And that is what we begin now. You've been told your whole life to find balance. Work-life balance. Emotional balance. Masculine-feminine balance. But what if that advice is the very thing breaking you? Because balance, as you've been taught, doesn't exist in nature. Nature never splits 50-50. Look at the body. Your heart is not balanced. It contracts, then releases. Your brain is not balanced. One hemisphere leads, then the other responds. Even breathing is asymmetric. Inhale, active. Exhale, receptive. Life is dynamic polarity, not static equality. Yet modern psychology taught you to flatten yourself into sameness. Inside every man lives the anima, his inner feminine. Inside every woman lives the animus, her inner masculine. When these forces are not integrated consciously, they will be lived out unconsciously. That's when projection begins. You don't want a partner, you want someone to carry the part of yourself you abandon. Neuroscience of polarity. Your brain is built on opposition and integration. The left hemisphere of your brain is responsible for logic, structure, and sequencing. The right hemisphere is responsible for emotion, context, and intuition. Mental health is not choosing one, it's communication between them. Neuroscientists call this neural integration. And when neural integration fails, anxiety spikes, attraction fades, creativity collapses, and motivation becomes brittle. The masculine-feminine confusion. Masculine should not be aggressive, dominating, or emotionless. Feminine should not be passive, weak, or dependent. Energy is how the nervous system moves, and those are trauma distortions, not energies. Instead, masculine energy should be direction, containment, and purpose. And feminine energy should be flow, expression, and connection. Balance isn't 50-50. Balance is knowing which one need to lead moment to moment. Let go deeper with masculine energy. Masculine energy is misunderstood. Some fear it, some overuse it, few embody it cleanly. But without it, nothing stable exists. The masculine nervous system. Masculine energy activates the prefrontal cortex, dopamine-based motivation circuits, goal-directed behavior. It answers one question: where are we going? And this exists in both men and women. Healthy masculine energy sets boundaries, makes decisions, holds pressure without collapse, and moves toward challenge. It contains emotion without suppressing it. Containment is not repression, it's safety. But masculine energy is often overused, and chronic masculine dominance leads to emotional numbness, control addiction, porn and dopamine loops, burnout, and loss of pleasure. Neuroscience shows that excess dopamine without oxytocin creates emptiness. That's why achievement stops feeling rewarding. The masculine trauma in men and in women. Masculine trauma often comes from being rewarded only for performance, being shamed for vulnerability, or being forced to grow up too fast. The nervous system learns rest is unsafe, feeling is inefficient, so it tightens. But the masculine have a true role. The masculine does not dominate life. It protects space for life. A river without banks floods. A river with banks flows powerfully. But structure alone is dead. So now we turn to the current that brings it alive, the feminine energy. If masculine energy is direction, feminine energy is aliveness. And without it, no amount of discipline will save you. The feminine nervous system. Feminine energy activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the default mode network, and oxytocin and serotonin pathways. It answers one question: what is being felt right now? Healthy feminine energy feels deeply without drowning, creates without forcing, connects without losing self, and adapts fluidly. It brings creativity, sexual polarity, emotional intelligence, and meaning to life. But suppressed feminine leads to anxiety, disconnection from the body, loss of desire, and chronic tension. Many high-functioning people live here. They look fine, but they feel empty. On the contrary, when feminine energy overruns, it becomes emotional chaos, indecision, people-pleasing, and identity diffusion. Flow without direction becomes stagnation. Feminine trauma often comes from emotional invalidation, lack of safety, abandonment, or inconsistent caregiving. The nervous system learns that expression is dangerous and that connection isn't safe, so it disconnects or overwhelms. But the feminine energy has a true role. It doesn't oppose structure, it animates it. It turns goals into purpose, movement into meaning, sex into union, and work into art. Now you see both sides. But understanding is not integration. Next, we face the root cause, conditioning. How you were conditioned. You were not born imbalanced. You learned it, quietly, repeatedly, before you even had language to name it. In early childhood, your brain asked only two questions: am I safe? And am I accepted? If expression led to rejection, the feminine learned to hide. If vulnerability led to shame, the masculine learned to harden. This is not personality. This is adaptive survival wiring. Attachment styles and energy imprint. Attachment theory explains it clearly. Secure attachment is fluid masculine and feminine flow. Avoidant attachment is armored masculine dominance. Anxious attachment is uncontained feminine overflow. Disorganized attachment is rapid and unstable switching between both. Your attachment style is your energetic blueprint. Praise also shapes polarity. What were you praised for? Being useful? Being quiet? Being strong? Being agreeable? The brain wires what gets rewarded. If love came through performance, masculine will overdrive. If love came through emotion, feminine will overdrive. Trauma isn't what happened. Trauma is what you had to suppress to stay connected. Suppressed anger leads to collapsed masculine. Suppressed sadness leads to blocked feminine. Suppressed play leads to dead of your creativity. Your body remembers even when your mind forgets. That's why, over time, the nervous system makes a deal. I'll be this, so I never have to feel that again. That's when men become rigid, women become exhausted, desire fades, and intimacy becomes negotiation. But here's the truth no one tells you. What protected you as a child is now suffocating you as an adult. Part 6. The world that breaks polarity. The modern world is not neutral. It rewards imbalance. 1. The productivity trap. Modern systems favor constant output, measurable results in speed over depth. This chronically activates the sympathetic nervous system. Dopamine replaces meaning. Efficiency replaces presence. Masculine energy dominates by default. 2. Why rest feels unsafe. Cortisol, the stress hormone, becomes familiar. Your nervous system confuses stress with identity. So when stillness appears, you feel restless. That's addiction to activation. That's addiction to stress. 3. Digital feminine hijack. Social media simulates connection without safety. It overstimulates emotion comparison and validation seeking, and this creates fragmented feminine expression. 4. Sexual polarity collapse. When everyone is in survival, masculine becomes brittle and feminine becomes guarded. But desire requires safety and polarity, and stress kills both. That's why attraction dies in so-called successful lives. 5. Why therapy sometimes fails. Talking without regulation strengthens awareness, but not integration. Insight without embodiment leaves polarity unchanged. You don't heal by understanding. You heal by repatterning the nervous system. So now let's go even deeper. The new human. The future is not masculine. It is not feminine. It is integrated. The integrated human leads without force, feels without collapse, rests without guilt, acts without burnout, and loves without losing self. This is not perfection, it's adaptability. You were never broken. You were trained to survive, and now you get to live. If you learn something from these powerful insights, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more neuroscience, biology, and psychology. See you next time on my way.